What's up, guys? James Carter TV, and here I am yet again continuing my 2016 NFL Draft recaps, and today we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals. And yeesh, if I have any Cardinals subscribers, they will be unsubscribing after this video because, man, I did not like the Arizona Cardinals draft. And I have to come on here not to be honest with you. Now, before I get started, no, I do not have any bias against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm a damn Tennessee Titans fan. The last time we faced you guys was in 2013. You won. The last time we faced before that was in 2009. We won. So I have no bias against the Arizona freaking Cardinals. I'm just coming on here and telling you how it is. And I'm not a big fan at all with the Arizona Cardinals draft, but I will say this. There is some reward to be had here. I won't be surprised if this draft class makes me look like a clown years from now because some of these guys that I think are going to miss are actually going to hit and what have you. But Dallas Cowboy fans hated me after I made that draft recap video. It's about to get even worse after I'm done with this one. Let's start with our first round pick. The 29th overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. Defensive tackle. He'll play defensive end for them. Robert Nkemdiche out of Ole Miss. I hate the pick. I absolutely hate the pick. I was not a Robert Nkemdiche fan before the draft. Still not a big Robert Nkemdiche fan after the draft, and maybe even more so. I do not buy into Robert Nkemdiche, and let me tell you why before you dislike the video. Maybe it's already too late. First of all, you're looking at a guy very athletic for his size. I mean, he has the prototypical build that you want to look for out of a 4-3 defensive tackle and then maybe out of a 3-4 defensive end. Although I think you would wish for him to be a little bit taller, but that's fine. So you're looking at a prototypical build for a defensive tackle, 3 or 5 technique guy. I mean, he's big, he's athletic, he's very framed well in terms of muscle on his frame, pretty lean, runs pretty well, ran a 4.87 for a defensive tackle. That's really freaking good. But, man, this guy's a clown. I call him Nkemdiche because I think this guy just doesn't have it upstairs, man. And this is not like Tyrann Mathieu, because Tyrann Mathieu had his issues at LSU. Oh, boy, did he have his issues. But I knew Tyrann Mathieu, number one, was a kid that when you sit down and when you talk to him, he actually is an intelligent kid, a kid that's willing to work hard and end up being a good football player for you in the future. Nkemdiche is not like that. Nkemdiche, he'll tell you, yeah, man, I want to come in, I want to be a good football player, I'm leaving all that stuff behind you, me, and whatever. And you want to believe him, but man, the evidence is against him. Jumped off of a roof or a balcony or whatever he jumped off of. Huge red flag. He was high. He got, caught for that. And now, unlike Tyrann Mathieu was a guy at LSU that produced. I mean, this guy put up stats, production. You couldn't deny the impact Tyrann Mathieu had on a game-to-game, day-to-day basis for LSU. Robert Nkemdiche, he didn't produce much at Ole Miss. You're looking at a guy that probably had maybe 90, maybe 100 career tackles, had about 6.5 career sacks. Yeah, he's a defensive tackle. But when we're talking about taking a guy with the first round pick, you have to be able to get to the quarterback. He had 6.5 sacks. You hope he gets that in a year. He better get 6.5 sacks in 1 year. He had that in his whole career. What's he going to do at the NFL level? He's a guy that's lazy on tape. Doesn't have a high motor at all. When there's a running back running to the other side, there's still a chance you can make a play. Robert Nkemdiche is just lofting. He's giving up on the play. Tries to do arm tackles, reaching here and reaching there, trying to do arm tackles. And this is a guy that I was actually looking at throughout this season because I knew my favorite team, the Tennessee Titans, were scheduled to have a top 10 pick. And at this time, Robert Nkemdiche was going to be a top 10 pick. And I would look on the film because I wanted a defensive tackle at one point. And I would say, okay, let's see what this guy can do. And every time I went on him, I looked at his film, I came up underwhelmed, unimpressed, a guy that likes to do arm tackles. And then you have the incidents off the field. He just seems like a clown. And we've seen with these clowns lately more than ever, I think, with Randy Gregory, a guy that came into the league very similar skill set, but even Randy Gregory produced way more than Robert Nkemdiche. said, yeah, man, I'm going to do better, man. I'm going to stay away. And what do? He can't play. He can't play and he can't get on the field because he's suspended for the first 8 games of this season. So you're talking about a first-round pick, and you're using a guy that you can't rely on, doesn't have it high upstairs, didn't produce at Ole Miss. I give it a D+. That is the worst grade I've given thus far when doing these draft recaps. I'm not a Nkemdiche fan. I'll be shocked if he's in the NFL. I mean, he'll probably be in the NFL just because of his athleticism alone, but if he's actually starting and playing well, I'll be shocked. He will get suspended. I guarantee it. You will see Robert Nkemdiche get suspended. And one more thing about Nkemdiche. This guy, I heard on draft night, Susie Colbert for ESPN reported it. They're trying to tell this guy, because apparently one of his big issues, or his biggest issue, is that his brother, his flesh and blood, his brother is getting him involved in a lot of issues and a lot of problems, and that's what's really been getting him involved in all this mess. And that the Cardinals have told him to stay away from his brother. I say good luck, man, because I'll tell you something about whenever you say stay away from your brother, your family member, or whatever, these people will always come back. They have a special place in your heart, and he has shown that he can't stay away from his brother thus far. And while Susie Colbert was reporting this, I saw on my television screen Robert Nkemdiche next to his brother. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I'm not buying it. I'm not believing it. I don't believe in the player. I don't believe in the pick. I think I would have taken him in the 4th round. They took him in the 1st. It is a D+. We move on. It probably should have been less, but there's still a chance he could figure out. But man, I'm not buying it. We move on to the 3rd round. They didn't have a 2nd round pick. They traded for the Chandler Jones, and I loved that move, by the way, for the Cardinals. And that move, I think, is going to be their best move, probably their only move that's going to look back and they're going to say, we did a good job on this in the 2016 offseason. We move on to the 3rd round pick, 92nd pick overall, Brandon Williams out of Texas A&M. And I can't believe this pick. Again, the Cardinals take a guy that didn't produce much, but unlike Nkemdiche, right? This is a guy that actually has a nice moral compass. But Brandon Williams, this guy's a 1-year starter cornerback. He was playing wide receiver over at Oklahoma, transferred to Texas A&M, played 2 more years at running back and wide receiver. So he was like a nice, wide receiver, a running back, flexible guy. They move him to cornerback. Now, he played this year, and he played okay. I don't think he played very great. He had some pass breakups. I don't think he recorded an interception. Had some nice tackles. He has okay size, about 5'11", but man, he's pretty weak. Wasn't able to put up nice bench press reps on the combine, so not a guy that's probably going to be involved much on the run game. He still has to learn the position. He hasn't gone up against elite talent yet. What's going to happen when he goes up against Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin? When he goes up against, the Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, Jordy Nelson, all these guys, I think they're going to give him trouble. I think he's too inexperienced. And when you're talking about the 3rd round, you're taking a 1-year starter at this position. This is a new position for this man. I can't buy it. I can't believe it. I have to give it a C+. And also, when you look at a Braxton Miller, right, at least you can say this is still the offensive side of the ball, and Braxton Miller has experience on the offensive side of the ball, being a guy that can run around, make people miss, and blah, blah, blah. It's different when you're moving from offense to defense, saying now you're going to cover people. You have to learn cornerback technique. You have to learn the ability, a tackling technique, just that alone. I mean, just a bunch of things that he still has to learn. You take him in the 3rd round, it's too high. I give it a C+. We move on to the 4th round. My favorite pick. We have Evan Boehm out of Missouri, a guy that came into the Missouri Tigers and started every single game he had the possibility to start. He was healthy. He was an Iron Man. He was on the field every single time they needed him. Now, my only problem with this pick is that he doesn't have great upside. He's not a great athlete. He doesn't have great side-to-side lateral quickness. But the good thing is he's a center, right? So if you can put him next to a competent left guard, a competent right guard, I think you'll have much more success. And in terms of being overpowered, he's not overpowered much. So he does the things a center needs to do, but he's not going to offer you much positional flexibility at all because he just doesn't have enough athleticism or quickness to play other positions. But I like the pick, and I give it an A-. Okay, so the Cardinals are saving their draft a little bit. We move on to their next pick, but is it too late? Is it too late? Because it's hard to find starters in the 4th round. We move on to the second pick in the 4th round, 167th overall, Marqui Christian out of Midwestern State. To be honest, I didn't see much Midwestern State games this year. That's just me being honest there. But from what I have been able to see of this guy, he has nice speed. He put up some nice numbers at combine. Had about a 4.46, I believe. Likes to hit people. He was pretty he acclaimed at Midwestern State, and in that conference had a good amount of awards. So small school guy, but made an impact from what I can see. Likes to hit guys. Likes to be involved in the run game. So good, strong safety for the Arizona Cardinals, and I give it a from what I've seen, it looks like an A- pick. All right, next we move on to the 5th round, 170th pick overall. We have Cole Toner out of Harvard. I like his length. He's 6'5". He's sitting at about 305 pounds. Has pretty long arms, 33 1/8. So he has that prototypical size I like to look for. So he has that length, good. In terms of being a pass protector, I think he has it. Run blocking, I think, is an issue for this kid. Also, you wonder, coming from the Ivy League, has he faced good enough competition? What's going to happen when he stops playing, Prince Charles III and he goes up against, Robert Nkemdiche or someone? Even though Nkemdiche I don't have much faith for. But anyway, when he goes up against these actual NFL-type talents, it's going to be a big climb for him. But from what I've seen at Harvard, and I like his length, I think this is a good, solid B pick. I still think there were better tackles, more sure things on the board, though, at this point in time. And then we move on to their last pick. They only had 6 picks. That's cornerback Harlan Miller out of Southeastern, Louisiana. I may even like this pick more than the Brandon Williams pick. I mean, I probably won't be surprised if Harlan Miller ends up being over Brandon Williams in the depth chart. But a guy that I think can contribute on special teams. He's a little slow. Yeah, I think he ran a 4.57 at his pro day after running a 4.65 at the combine. So he showed higher speed there. But I like his length. I think he's pretty lengthy. And when you look in the 6th round, and you're just trying to find guys that can possibly start on special teams, I think he's a guy that could be in that mix. Although probably not in a gunner role, probably in some other role, just maybe on kick returns, defending that or something along that matter, not really returning the kicks themselves. But there's some length here. And in the 6th round, you get away with that. But I'm just not that also enthused about this pick. And it's only a B- for me. So when we go back to my GPA system that I've concocted, and I put in these grades, and it's so sad to me. The Cardinals came out with a 2.13 GPA out of 4, which equals a C. And really, I think I might be generous because when you look at, I think you blew your 1st round pick. I don't expect anything from Nkemdiche. Brandon Williams is a project. I think you may actually have a center in Evan Boehm. So I think you may have a starting center. Okay, you got a starting guy, 4th round. I don't think Marqui Christian will ever get to play that much because there's Tyrann Mathieu in front of him. So that's pretty much the issue there. But if he does, he may be able to do something for you. And then maybe you got some nice backups in Cole Toner and Harlan Miller. But man, you got to get more starters than that, man. And maybe Nkemdiche will start just because, well, we have known better and then he'll start. But man, I don't have any expectations for him. Low motor, low character, just a guy that's getting by on his athleticism, on his build, on his frame. And I'm not buying any of that. 2.13 GPA for the Arizona Cardinals, the worst I've given thus far. Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.